So if you look at modern history and the presidential process, which I do from Reagan after Reagan because everything changed. 88, both seats open, right? The next time both seats are open is 2000, right? The next time both seats are open is 2008. The next time both seats are open is 2016. Okay. And that's our sample space. There's no front runner in the Democratic Party. It's the most wide open it's ever been. And the asymmetry is the Republican contest is the most non-open an open race has ever been in this time period. Vance has a stranglehold on this. And even if Governor Pritzker is the nominee, I believe today there's every reason to believe that JD Vance's pot of money, super PAC, outside groups, money he raises into his campaign will be substantially larger than any Democrats. Substantially larger. That's not everything, but it's a big deal to be able to say that today. And he's only increasing the chances of that as he gets the stranglehold over the party apparatus. Dan.
Well, I think that where that will really be key is, let's say in 2027, when let's say there's 10 Democrats running around the country competing in a primary, and let's say his field is clear, he can use that money to both like build himself up if he's got holes, hire the staff, and get ready to pummel whoever emerges, or if they want to play in the Democratic primary and try to like cause mischief or whatever.
Correct.
That ability to have a clear field on your side and money, and the other side scrambling. Sometimes you never get off the mat.
Correct.
Well, look, the one other thing.
Go ahead.
And Charlie Kirk and everybody else. Yeah.
There's two pieces to this equation. I mean, actually, the third is what you're mentioning, kind of maybe in this modern day, is the sort of super surrogate type folks. But the X factor in all this, which I think is going to line up with the money, is the data. Data is king in a modern presidential election, knowing who to call, who not to call, what moves voters, what doesn't move voters, what their propensity to vote is, and blah, 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 blah. If JD inherits, which I believe he will, the current Republican data operation, then it's I mean, you talk about money, Mark, that puts him so far ahead, because if you think about the time, because Trump was involved in hand in glove with the RNC since 2016, the data that they share about likely voters, propensity to vote, non-voters, new registrants, will go so far in putting him, I mean, like that costs a ton of money, and handing that over to him and saying, here you go. That's money that you don't have to spend on that. That's time that you don't have to waste building it. That, I would argue, is probably a bigger advantage than the money.
Well, I wouldn't want to choose between them. They're both huge advantages. And then you've got Charlie Kirk, who's going to continue to register voters in the battleground states, right? Again, I'm not saying JD Vance can't lose. He might not be the nominee. What I'm saying is, on the current trajectory, the Democrats, and they don't have the outside groups, because all the smart people, all the data people, all the money people are trying to pick a horse. So they're focused on who's our nominee going to be, not how do we build to register voters in Pennsylvania. And the voter registration trends and the data I saw today continue to be bad for Democrats in the battleground states.
Horrible.
Some of that's happening, or some of that's happening organically, but some of it is the Republican apparatus remains up and running, and the Democrats, are again trying to figure out.
That's the story, though, right?
Yeah,
Think about that. I mean, you mentioned all those markers in history. The idea that I got 3 fundraising emails last night, 18 texts from Trump,
right,
80,
and some from Vance, by the way.
Sure, but the point is that normally there's an atrophy to the political operation.
Correct.
That doesn't. I mean, that the keeping that in motion is so huge.
Correct. And I'll say one last thing, then we got to move on. Vance's ability to get along with everybody inside the government and in the political team is phenomenal. Al Gore, George W. Bush, H.W. Bush, Joe Biden had a bunch of enemies, had a bunch of rivals. Say again?
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, too. Had a bunch of people who were like, no, not enthusiastic, or worse. I can't find anybody currently in the party. And it's quite a change from the summer of 2024 when, before Trump picked Vance, there were a lot of people saying to me openly, like very MAGA people, please don't pick Vance. Vance is a disaster. Go around and try to find anybody now in the party who doesn't like Vance. It's quite an achievement. And it's why all the apparatus that Sean talked about, all the money that Dan and I and Sean are talking about, It's never happened before. It may not be dispositive, but it's a massive advantage. And there's no one in the Democratic Party who can do a damn thing about it.
Before we move on, can I just ask your opinion, Mark? Who do you think writes the story about what we just talked about and pretends that it's their own? Do you think it's Politico or the Wall Street Journal?
They're all watching. They're scribbling down
well,
notes.
that's why
They're scribbling down notes. And here's what they're saying is, please tell us who the best sources would be on this, so we don't have to do any of it. I don't know. I may write it. Just because I can, but we'll see. Hey, did you like that conversation? Well, you can be part of the Two-Way community. Join us live for interactive conversations like no other. Go to twoway.tv. You can also watch anytime. Hit the subscribe button and watch our Two-Way clips and full episodes whenever your time allows.